hearken to the advice of Michael Steele. I'm going to keep my remarks shorter and crisper because I'm only 8 months younger than Joe Biden, and I definitely feel like I'm losing it. It's a terrible problem that the Democrats have, that maybe the nation has. He is unmistakably 81. He'll be 82 when he gets inaugurated if he prevails over Donald Trump. But he seems like an old 81. I hate to say it. I feel that myself. I know how metamorphosis, whatever that verb is, I have changed in recent years. There's a big difference between 78 and 81, I think. And it's unfortunate. I don't know how compos mentis he is, behind the teleprompter. I worry, as Jon Stewart jokes, I worry every time he steps up there that he's going to lose his place and the teleprompter is going to stumble over something, or he's going to look lost, need someone to shepherd him off into the wings. It's tough. He's just as crisp as ever in his inner mechanisms, but he does seem old. Trump, on the other hand, who's an old guy,
Geraldo.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Geraldo, look, okay, all I'd say is there's no way Joe Biden could pull out metamorphosis, okay? And I won't ask you to spell it, but there's no way he could pull it. Look, and this is the leaks that were coming out of the White House a couple of months ago. I want to get your thought on this. The leaks were, yeah, he's 81, he's fine now, but who knows what he's going to be like in 4 years, right? That was sort of the whole comment that was coming out of the White House. But what's most fascinating to me, and maybe I'm just an inside baseball guy because I've lived here in Washington for far too long, but this White House never leaked. The first 2 years of the Biden administration, the first year of the Biden campaign, it never leaked. Nothing. And now it leaks like a bad rowboat at your grandmother's house. What do you make of that?
Well, I haven't spent any time at all with any Biden people, but I was very close, as you know, to former President Trump, and I was in that White House. And talk about leaks. That was like a flood that you cover. It was terrible. He couldn't get anything going without being washed away in this wave of malevolent gossip. But in terms of Biden, I think that the real danger is that something, God forbid, happens to him, a stroke or something like that. You worry about how frail he looks. Maybe, he's full of zest internally. Maybe the White House surgeon is absolutely right that he's in the bloom of health. I don't know. It just doesn't seem so.
The prime of 81?
Right. But now Trump, on the other hand, seems full of verve and bluster. He's, today with the Stormy Daniels thing, he weathered that storm. I think that this trial is falling apart on him. He may, he's a campaign monster. He's going to get out there. He's going to go to all those swing states they're always talking about, where tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands will determine the course of the election for the entire nation. But he seems more physically competent than Joe Biden.
Look, you can't argue that in the split screen. You mentioned swing states, which I'm glad you brought up, because typically the convention for any party is in a swing state, right? 2008, Barack Obama went to Denver, Colorado, which was turning purple. He turned it blue. 2016, Trump went to Ohio, turned it red. Hillary Clinton went to Pennsylvania, didn't turn it blue, but certainly hoped to. And yet, Joe Biden is going to Chicago, which Chicago and Illinois are as blue as you get. It's not in play no matter what. But it's drawing attention to a city where vehicle theft is up 37%, robbery up 23%, aggravated battery up 6%, criminal sexual assault up 3%. Boeing, Caterpillar, and the Citadel, which is one of the largest investment firms in the country, has relocated. 7 killed, 31 wounded after this weekend. Mass anger over housing by illegal immigrants. And now there is protests all over Chicago parroting Hamas talking points. What is it about Chicago that Democrats want the media focusing on for 4 days?
That's an excellent question. And I think that even though you listed it last, I think that the potential for disruption is an issue that they should really think long and hard about. Because 1968 is not that long ago in my recollection, and it was totally it gave the election really to the Republicans. It was so dysfunctional, the Democratic convention. Dan Rather getting pushed around, all kinds of ebb and flow of humanity there. You know, it really distracted from the Democrats' message, and it swept into office Richard Nixon and so forth. You know, it's a rough road for the Democrats. I don't know why they chose this particular path, and I think that it will haunt them. As of right now, it's not the issue. Chicago, you listed the litany of woes, but Chicago is a muscular kind of place. It's got a real identity. I think that they'll get a grasp of that, and maybe Gaza will blow over. Maybe. They will be a permanent ceasefire. Maybe there'll be something that calms the American street, but not right now.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.